Yep, this is what we're making. Baek Kimchi. That is your non-spicy, so refreshing, so crunchy and delicious Korean white kimchi. Yes, it is highly, highly addictive, and this liquid is amazing. You could literally put your face in it. That's how delicious it is. Oh. Hi everyone, this is Helen and welcome to Modern Pepper. 안녕하세요 여러분, Modern Pepper의 헬렌입니다. For those of you that are new to Modern Pepper channel offers Korean cooking lessons for authentic Korean dishes as well as Korean fusion dishes. 오늘도 맛있는 한식 요리와 한식 퓨전 요리를 영어로 함께 하겠습니다. 구독 버튼 꼭 눌러주세요. So today we are making non-spicy kimchi called Baek Kimchi. Baek means white. So for those of you who are like, what? I thought kimchi is always spicy. No, kimchi could be non-spicy as well. Because it's not spicy, I could eat tons of it and not feel guilty. Don't we all love foods like that where you could just eat a lot of it and not feel guilty? And Baek Kimchi is far less saltier than your traditional spicy kimchi. You know, when I need to like cinch my waist and gonna crash diet, I eat my Baek Kimchi to just satisfy my cravings for savory food. This is it, and let me tell you, zero fat and the calories are so low. Okay, so the very first thing we have to make is the glue, pul. In any kimchi, you must add this glue called pul to your kimchi. Pre-mix half a cup of water with a quarter cup of white flour and mix well. You can also use sweet white rice flour. Bring half a cup of water to boil. Bring your heat down to medium. Add your pre-mixed flour with water in here and whisk. Keep on whisking for a good 60 seconds to 90 seconds. The liquid is now nice and thick. Turn your heat off completely. The consistency we're looking for is this, kind of gravy consistency, not too thick, but not too runny. And then use the back of a spoon and make a line like that. If you have a clean line, that means this is the right consistency we're looking for. And quickly transfer the glue. So you want to let this cool down to room temperature. So we're going to put this to the side. And here's my Napa cabbage that I brined. Now, before we go any further, there's the very first step of brining your Napa cabbage, your pechu. Napa cabbage in Korean is called pechu. The salt brining process is the most critical part of making kimchi. There's a saying, when your salt brined cabbage comes out really delicious, that means your kimchi is going to taste good. If it doesn't, well, you know, try better next time. So I need you to watch my previous video on how to make kimchi, and in that video the first 10 minutes covers everything you need to know from shopping tips. Yes, there's some critical shopping tips that you need to be aware of when you go buy Napa cabbage, cutting tips, and as well as trimming tips. And most critical tip is knowing when your Napa cabbage leaves have been sufficiently salt brined. There's the washing process. It sounds intensive, but it really isn't. It really isn't. It's just the knowledge that you need to have before you start salt brining your Napa cabbage leaves. So once you have done that, the rest is really easy, especially when it comes to making Baek Kimchi today. So here's mine that I salt brined yesterday. When it comes to kimchi, you need to have Korean radish. It's called mu. Korean mu comes in different sizes. This is kind of your standard medium size. They have ones that are like super fat. So my rule of thumb, 2 inches of radish is sufficient for 1 head of cabbage. And the cabbage that we're using today is roughly about 6 pounds. Make sure when you're doing this recipe that you're using Napa cabbage that weighs around 6 pounds, okay? It's not really the size that matters, it's the weight, so make sure to remember that. So for our recipe, we need about 2 inches of our Korean radish. And then if you happen to use Korean radish that's fatter, minus a ½ an inch off of it. And if you happen to use Korean radishes that's much smaller than this, then add a ½ inch more. Simple as that. So about 2 inches up to here, and we're gonna just start cutting. So stack your slices and just start cutting. So one of the things about Korean radish, it's really, really yummy. I mean, you could snack on this all day. you know, if you want Thai food. It kind of tastes like jicama, but it's not sweet like jicama. It just has a watery taste. It's really delicious. I mean, this is a fun part of making kimchi. You get to snack on all the ingredients. Okay, so we're gonna put our radish to the side. Now I wanna show you something. When you buy a radish and you open it, there's a chance that the interior of your radish will have these like weird discoloration and it kind of doesn't look right. Like this is another example right here. It doesn't look right. The interior should look this clean and pristine. So if you happen to get radish that looks kind of has this discoloration, what I would do is just cut off the part that's kind of damaged and use this part. And we need a small carrot. Cut the base off a little bit like so that your carrot doesn't wobble. So it's now stable, and then cut into long slices like so. You want the radish sticks to be able to stand on its own and not as thick as linguine noodle. We need about 6 scallions. Cut in half, stack them up, and then cut in half again. We want them to be about, 1.5 to 2 inches in length. And we need fresh ginger that's a little bit bigger than the size of my thumb. And cut them into thin strips. So cut into thin strip like so. Also order these Korean ingredients online, and I will have these product links in the description box below. And I just have to tell everyone that if you use any of those links to make a purchase, I get a tiny commission. So I just wanted to say thank you in advance. So using a fine mesh strainer, pour your glue that we made earlier. Make sure it's room temperature. And I'm gonna add 2 cups of room temperature water and another 2 cups of room temperature water. And we're gonna stir this. This is to make sure there's no lumps or clusters of our glue. So once you see that there's some clusters, we're gonna discard this part. We need 1/4 of Korean pear, 1/4 of medium-sized onion, about 5 to 6 garlic, 1 tablespoon of maesil, that is your plum extract, 1/8 cup of fish sauce, and 1/2 tablespoon of salt brined shrimp, 새우젓. We're gonna pour about half of this bowl into this blender and then put the lid on it, and then we're gonna blend for about 30 seconds. And then we're gonna pour this liquid back into our bowl. Now this is the super easy part. You just take all the vegetables that we cut up and we put it in here. And my secret ingredient is 1/2 packet of these artificial sweeteners. And I have some SilGoChu, and this is basically chili threads, and about, 3-4 dozen of these chili threads. They're not at all spicy, but it's a really pretty way to garnish. And then we're gonna mix this. All this foam on top will all subside when the kimchi ferments. It smells really good. It's important at this point to taste. Now, everything's gonna taste really raw, so we're just tasting for the saltiness. It's good. You could taste the rawness of the garlic and then all the fresh herb taste from the vegetables that we added. And then it tastes slightly salty from the fish sauce and the shrimp. You don't want this to be salty. You just want it to be just slightly salty because as it ferments, everything will get saltier. So I'm gonna add 1 more cup of water. So altogether, we're using 5 cups of water. All right, so you gotta put on these disposable kitchen gloves. I mean, you could go in with your hands, but it's kind of acidic. I wouldn't. So now this is the fun part. So we're gonna take our salt brine kimchi, flip your salt brined cabbage all the way to the back. We're gonna take some of this, just a little bit, like this much, and tuck it right here at the back, like that. Bring this layer down, bring this layer down, get a little bit more of this, like this much, and then tuck it right here at the root where the base is, and just continue. And then here. So we want to pick this up from the root end with 2 hands and take the back leaf that you find here and just kind of wrap it around like so at the base. Fold this over so it looks nicely wrapped and compact. And then we put it in our kimchi container like so. And then you just continue with the rest. And here's our last quarter of our 1 cabbage. Yep, and just pick it up. It's like you want to wrap it like a baby so that it goes in here as night time. Like so. These are just thin slices. Look how thin they are, about 1/3 of an inch or less of Korean radish that I put with some salt. And look, 15 minutes later, that's how much water it drained. So rinse it really well, like 3-4 times. I want you to have a taste. It's slightly salty. Korean radish is so good. So anyway, this part's optional. I like to always add, sorry, I have to finish what's in my mouth. I like to always add a little bit of salt brined radish slices because radish makes everything taste really, really refreshing, and the radish itself is going to give away more juice, you know, delicious like salty juice to our white kimchi. So I always like to stuff about, 6 to 8 of these like half thick cut slices of Korean radish, like so. And then we're gonna take the rest of our mixture and just pour it in here. Oh boy, this is gonna be so good. Look at that. Just the perfect amount of our Baek Kimchi liquid. Gently press it down, gently, just to release any air bubbles that might be below. And the container that I'm using is 4.5 liter. So these stragglers that you would find at the end of washing your salt brine cabbage leaves, do not throw these away. These go in here. And I always like to use these to kind of fill in the edges of my kimchi container, just to seal it in more. This smells so good. It already smells so refreshing and a little bit of that garlicky taste. Oh boy. And then the beauty of these disposable kitchen gloves, ta-da, I'm done. And my hands don't smell like garlic. Magical. And then saran wrap. Just gently press the saran wrap on top like that. So the saran wrap acts as a second skin to our kimchi. So make sure to kind of press out any air on top. And then keep it in like so. And then you always want to take a wet paper towel and clean the edges of any excess juice. Lid on, close it. This guy needs to sit on the kitchen counter for 10 to 12 hours, away from the heat, away from the window. Very, very important. And then it goes into the refrigerator. A week later, it should be really, really delicious. I have one that I made about a week ago. And it smells so good. I mean, I'm not even gonna plate it. I'm just gonna have a taste of the liquid. Oh, it's so refreshing. It's like you could almost put your face in it because it's not really that salty at all. It's just slightly salty. It's just so yummy. 아, 참 맛있습니다, 여러분. 개운하고 상큼하고 아주 시원합니다. What did I say? I said it's so good and refreshing and so yum, yum, yum. So I want to kind of give you some tips. So when you make kimchi, I would store all my kimchi in here and then take out the portion that I'm going to eat for the week or in a couple days in a small airtight container. That's how I would do it. Now, just to demonstrate to you, this guy is 2 months old. But there's a thing about kimchi. You never, ever, 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 ever throw away kimchi, no matter what. Even if it's so old that it's really like there's mold on it, which should not happen. But if there is, you still wash it and you recycle it into other dishes. So if you throw away kimchi, it's bad luck. Okay, my grandma told me so. Now, Koreans, we don't like to throw away kimchi, honestly, because you can make it into so many dishes. So this guy is 2 months old, and I'm not throwing it away because you could use this and add it to your 된장찌개, your soybean stew. So yum. I also use it to make kimchi fried rice, sort of the non-spicy version for my children, because one of my kids really cannot eat spicy food. I won't say who. So, I mean, there's so many things you could do with it. Do not throw away kimchi. Do not throw away kimchi. Did I make that clear? Do not throw away kimchi. I'm going to show you how to present your Baek Kimchi in a very pretty way. And this is how you do it. Grab a hold of your cabbage like so. You know, you want to cut the root end off. And then kind of squeeze out the rest of the liquid. Take the biggest leaf from the back. And I want you to wrap it around it like so. Like that. So make sure it's very tight around the cabbage that it's holding. You want to lay it flat, and you want to just make the cut right down here. So we're going to cut right here, and then right here. And then we're going to put it down like so in the center, like that. Just going to pour this liquid in here like so, just about 1/3 up. And then drop 1 onion, maybe the chili thread, some radish floating. All right, time for a quick taste test. I mean, one of my favorite ways to eat kimchi, if you have not seen my other video, is I like to just pick one up and just rip it. And it just tastes so much better this way. Okay, so I'm gonna put it over some rice. I mean, rice and kimchi, 2 things in life, I mean, that I love, that I adore. It is just slightly salty. So you could literally go to town on this. This is like your salad that you could have even without rice, because it's not that salty. Like regular red kimchi, you need to deal with rice because it's spicy and it's salty. But this isn't. And then you gotta have the broth. I mean, when you eat this with other people, do not put your spoon into the serving bowl. I mean, that's a no-no. But because this is all mine, I'm doing that. Ah, it's really good. This is so refreshing. Baek kimchi is so addictive in a different way from the spicy kimchi. Oh, so good. I'm gonna indulge and show you my other favorite way. Like, don't do this with other people, but if it's like your own portion size of your Baek kimchi, then do it. You take a little spoon of rice, you go in and add a little liquid, this lovely Baek kimchi liquid. Oh, so good. And I just got a little piece of the ginger, fresh ginger. Oh my God, it just gives it a nice punch. Oh, so yummy. Now make sure to check out my kimchi recipe, which is just like today's, 1 head of Napa cabbage. So it is zero intimidation, super easy to follow. And in that video, I cover in detail of all the ingredients that we use. So I kind of went through everything a little quickly, but watch that video so you have a better understanding of the Korean ingredients that we use today. Go to my recipe blog and I'll have that link in the description box below, which will also include instructions as well as substitution options for ingredients that perhaps you may not be able to get wherever you live. Now, if you enjoyed today's video, I would greatly appreciate it if you would click on that thumbs up icon. And if you did not subscribe to my channel yet, make sure to subscribe. 여러분, 오늘 재밌게 보셨으면 꼭 좋아하는 버튼 눌러주시고 구독 버튼 눌러주세요. 다음 비디오에서 꼭 뵙겠습니다. So I'll see you in the next video.